He spoke of Aten, of its life-giving light, of a world free from fear and free from darkness. His words were filled with passion, yet the eyes of the people were clouded with confusion, and some with anger. They listened, but they wondered, would this light protect them, or would it lead them to the abyss? This struggle was only the beginning. Akhenaten dreamed of a new Egypt, but with every step, his enemies multiplied, and Egypt drew closer to the precipice. In Thebes, beneath the light of Aten, Akhenaten was building his dream, but he was also building a wall between himself and his people. From this moment, the Amarna revolution began to take shape. Yet shadows were gathering, threatening to extinguish the light of Aten forever in the heart of Egypt. During Akhenaten's revolution, as the light of Aten challenged the shadows of the ancient gods, one figure stood firm, a queen who was not merely the pharaoh's shadow, but his partner, his light, and the secret of his strength. Nefertiti, a name that became legend and a face that has long puzzled history. Nefertiti, the queen of legendary beauty, was far more than Akhenaten's wife in Thebes. While the pharaoh proclaimed the worship of Aten, she stood beside him. The Amarna reliefs depict her in unprecedented scenes, driving chariots, participating in religious rituals, and sometimes even appearing the same size as Akhenaten himself, as if she were his equal in power. This was something entirely new in Egypt. A queen who was not merely a wife, but a partner in rule and a partner in revolution. Yet this role made her a target for Akhenaten's enemies. The priests saw in her a force that could not be ignored. A woman standing beside a so-called heretical pharaoh. In the streets of Thebes, talk of Nefertiti began to spread. People spoke of her beauty, her strength, her piercing gaze. They said she was enchanting, that she possessed a mysterious power. But the truth ran deeper. Nefertiti was a woman who believed in a dream. She believed in Akhenaten, yet she also knew that this dream would face fierce resistance. Resistance that could destroy them both. One night, Nefertiti stood before a small statue of Aten. She prayed, but her prayers were not only for the god. They were for Akhenaten, for their children, and for Egypt itself. She knew that the conflict with the priests of Amen was intensifying. She heard whispers in the royal court, of small rebellions in the provinces, of nobles beginning to ally themselves with the priests. Yet she showed no weakness. She stood beside Akhenaten like an unshakable rock. Nefertiti had borne Akhenaten several daughters, who appeared in the Amarna reliefs playing beneath the rays of Aten, as if they were symbols of the new life Akhenaten dreamed of. These images were unfamiliar to the ancient Egyptians. Pharaohs had always been depicted as gods. Yet Akhenaten and Nefertiti chose to present themselves as humans, as a family living under the sunlight. But this beauty, this power, also drew enemies. The priests began to spread rumors, claiming that Nefertiti was driving Akhenaten mad, that she was a sorceress who controlled him. Their aim was to sow discord between the pharaoh and his queen, but Nefertiti proved stronger than their whispers. She was Akhenaten's voice, his heart, and his shield in Thebes. Beneath the light of Aten, Nefertiti stood as a symbol of the revolution, yet she knew that no revolution is complete without sacrifice. From this moment, Nefertiti fully shared Akhenaten's dream. But shadows were gathering. Shadows that threatened to extinguish their light. Akhenaten would soon decide to build his dream on new soil, in a city Egypt had never known, had never seen before, a city dedicated to the light of Aten, Tel El Amarna, the city of the sun, in 1348 BC. After Akhenaten declared the worship of Aten as the one true god, and after his bitter struggle with the priests of Amen, he made a bold decision. He no longer wished to rule from Thebes, a city steeped in the shadows of the old gods. Instead, he chose virgin land along the banks of the Nile, a place far from the influence of the priests, a place where the light of Aten could shine without restraint. There, Tel El Amarna began to take shape, a city born from the dream of a pharaoh named Akhenaten. Standing on a hill overlooking the Nile, with Nefertiti by his side, they gazed toward the horizon where the new city would rise. The Nile flowed gently, the wind carried the scent of clay and lotus, and the sun's rays bathed the land in golden light. Akhenaten saw in this place a new beginning for Egypt. He ordered the construction of open temples, radiant palaces, and streets filled with life. Tel El Amarna was not merely a city, it was a vision, a dream brought to life. Construction began. Thousands of workers arrived from across Egypt, carrying stones, raising columns, and carving walls. Yet these walls were unlike those of Thebes. They were not filled with images of the ancient gods. Instead, They were adorned with new reliefs depicting Akhenaten.